Welcome to Karma Court. This is what I was mainly going to talk about in our December class, was the preparation in order for us to start sewing in January. Our first class will be Sunday, January 25th at Down the Block. So the first thing I want to talk about was the pattern. I think I've talked to most of you and you already have a copy of the pattern. Here you can see it right here. The first thing that you need to do is turn to the center of the pattern. In the center of the book, you will see all these pages. I can't get it. They're labeled with letters instead of numbers. But you can see, for example, these ones. So the first thing you need to do to get prepared is you are going to need to make copies of these pages. As you can see in the book, they are printed double-sided, but we need them to be single-sided. And you can see on each page, it says you need to make 10 copies of this page alone. So you have an option when you're printing these papers. And I have just a few here to show you. So one option is Quilter Select Print and Piece. It is a sturdier foundation paper. It is not as easy to see through, but it holds up really well over time. And then you have an option to remove it or leave it a little bit as stabilizer inside your finished product. The second type of product you could use is freezer paper. And there's many different types. And actually with freezer paper, there's a way that you can reuse the pattern more than once. And we can talk about that technique in class at some point. I would just recommend making one copy in freezer paper and seeing if you like to do it that way before you make all of them. The paper is a little more expensive than some of the other ones. So I want to make sure that you like that technique before you invest in making all 120 copies. Another option is vellum paper, and it is vellum, which is kind of a see-through paper. It's a little bit plasticky. It is on the more expensive side, but it does hold up better than just plain paper or newsprint. And then the last option I wanted to show you was I actually just have a ream of something that's called newsprint paper. It's very thin paper. This one is a little bit gray, so it won't be quite as easy to see through, but super cheap. I think I got these 500 sheets for the same cost as I got 25 of some of the other. So it's a very cheap option. It does not hold up well though. So if you have a tendency or you think you might make a lot of mistakes, you might want to consider going with something that's a little bit sturdier to make your copies. And you will need to make your copies just single-sided because we're going to sew through the paper and then you can't see through the other side. The other thing that I highly recommend is some sort of light source. I have this really large light box that I'm going to use here at home. You don't have to invest in a light box, though, if you don't have one. I have for my iPad, I just have an app. It's called My Light, and when you click it on, it becomes a light box itself. So if you have some sort of tablet that I would recommend at least this size tablet, you could probably use this for free. The app was free. It's called My Light. You could use this as a light box without investing any money. And then you can turn it on and off right there in the corner while you're using it. The third thing that I highly recommend is an add a quarter ruler. So this is an add a quarter plus ruler, which means that it has this 1/4 inch lip for when I'm trimming up my paper pieces. But on this other edge is a tapered edge that I can use for folding my paper pieces along a crisp line. It just makes it helpful so that you don't have to have like some sort of like cardstock or some other tool to help you fold it. It's all in a single ruler. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was the fabric. I used a month yardage breakdown that Sassafras Lane had on their website. I will try to attach that guide that I use directly to the email that I send you. I went pretty similar to the cover quilt with bright colors. The first thing that I picked was the main fabrics. So you have a main color that's going to be inside all your blocks, and then you have 4 gradations of colors for the accents. So I have like a light gray, a medium gray, a black with some gray in it, and then almost a complete black. So those are my background and accents for all my blocks. And then I just went through and using the yardage guide I was talking about, or once you make your choice, on page 3 there's a swatch guide, and over here it tells you what kind of yardage you need for your swatch guide. So what I basically did was I looked at each block month by month, and I picked out 2 colors, and then I got the yardage for it. So in summary, what you really need to have done for January is you need to have month 1 and 2, all those papers copied. When I'm going to do it all at once. You don't necessarily need to have all the fabric, although I think it's nice to help make a cohesive quilt. So I did pick all my fabric. And then some other little tools. They are not necessary, but I think they'll be very helpful in getting your quilt finished. Let me know if you have any questions. I will send this link out in an email, and I will try and include those extra things from their websites in the email. Have a good day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in January.